simply because I knew that I would give a no comment interview and thought a solicitor would just slow down the process. I don't know if that's true or not. The police insist that it doesn't make any difference in your processing, but usually when I get bagged, I don't usually ask for a solicitor because I'm going to go no comment anyway. Interview room, I kept it silent. Yes then, the people, little update. I know the viewers love the updates. So my legal team have initiated civil proceedings against the Met regarding my arrest at the police training facility in London, otherwise known as Hendon. As you may have seen from the original video, myself and Richard were filming outside Hendon before eventually entering through the open gate as prompted by the security guy. I think he said something like, anything you see, your eye have to accept it. I don't know, he said some shit like that. It was funny, but...
See your eyes see, then you have to accept it.
This opening sets the foundation for what quickly becomes a serious accountability issue. What initially sounds like a casual channel update immediately escalates into a formal legal development. Civil proceedings initiated against the Metropolitan Police. The significance here cannot be understated. This is no longer just an opinion or an allegation, but an escalation into the civil courts. From the outset, the audience is primed to understand that what happened at Hendon wasn't merely a misunderstanding, but an incident with potential legal consequences for the police themselves.
Huh? You understand?
Nah.
Anyway, we entered, engaged a few officers who were taking some training exercise before eventually both being arrested by Inspector Trowell under Section 4 of the Vagrancy Act 1824. We were arrested under a legislation dated almost 200 years old. The Met pulling out Victorian ledge just to try and get us bagged. You know how that poem ends. For those that aren't aware, the Vagrancy...
Here we learn the key contextual facts. Lawful filming outside a police training facility, followed by entry through an open gate, notably after encouragement from security staff. This detail matters. Consent, access, and implied permission are central to any later claims of trespass. The arrest under Section 4 of the Vagrancy Act 1824 immediately raises red flags. When police reach for legislation nearly 200 years old, it often signals uncertainty or desperation, rather than lawful clarity.
Act is a piece of legislation which makes it an offence to sleep rough or beg in England and or Wales. The legislation itself was introduced to deal with increasing numbers of homeless people in England and Wales following the conclusion of the Napoleonic Wars in 1815. It's certainly not a contemporary piece of legislation that would be commonplace in 2022. Moving on, we were placed in a van, taken to the big bad.
This segment dismantles the legal foundation of the arrest. The Vagrancy Act was never designed to regulate photography, filming, or public access. It was aimed at rough sleeping and begging in post-war Britain. Applying it to modern-day auditors in 2022 shows a fundamental misuse of police powers. When outdated legislation is stretched beyond recognition, it risks becoming unlawful detention rather than lawful enforcement.
Colindale police station, where we were kept for about 12 hours before finally being interviewed by PC Heslin, who at the time informed us that we would be further arrested for aggravated trespass. Guys, remember, for trespass to be aggravated, you must be disrupting or otherwise obstructing people from carrying out their lawful business. Aggravated trespass legislation is often used to deter travellers from setting up shop on private property, which affects people from going about their business. So in that capacity, aggravated trespass is not a piece of legislation that would be used to arrest photographers. It's got a pretty obvious kind of use. So like I said, it would not be a piece of legislation that would be used to arrest photographers regardless of the area in which they access. I hope that made sense. So like I said, arrested, kept in cells, didn't ask for a solicitor simply because I knew that.
After 12 hours in custody, the justification shifts, a common pattern in weak cases. Aggravated trespass requires active disruption of lawful business, not mere presence or filming. Importantly, no evidence is presented showing obstruction, interference, or disruption. This appears to be a retroactive attempt to justify an arrest that was already on shaky ground, reinforcing concerns that the detention itself may have been unlawful.
I would give a no comment interview and thought a solicitor would just slow down the process. I don't know if that's true or not. The police insist that it doesn't make any difference in your processing, but usually when I get bagged, I don't usually ask for a solicitor because I'm going to go no comment anyway. Interview room, I kept it silent. BC Heslin even said before the recording started in the interview that this offence was a non-starter and that he was just sent to take the interview. By the expression on his face and his body language, he too agreed that this whole situation was a bit of a shit show. Like it just seemed like he was just sent to take the interview. But shortly after the interview was complete, we were put back in the cells before being released and given a piece of paper reading refusal to charge. I think this is different to NFA. I think NFA, they can reopen the case if further evidence emerges. Not 100% on that, but that's what I believe. So following this, obviously the first thing I did was consult my legal team and explain to them what had happened.
The interview phase further weakens the police position. Even the interviewing officer reportedly acknowledged the case as a non-starter. This matters. Officer conduct, demeanor, and admissions can become powerful evidence in civil claims. The eventual outcome speaks volumes. Refusal to charge. After hours of detention, no offense could be substantiated. At this point, the question shifts from was an offense committed to why was this arrest allowed to happen at all?
They were very confused when I explained to them that I was arrested under the Vagrancy Act, as they were unfamiliar with it. So they requested that I obtain the custody record from the Met and give it to them before they could investigate any further. I made the subject access request on the 6th of January asking for a copy of the custody record. They got back to me on Valentine's Day with the custody record. I then forwarded this information to my legal team, who have since filed a letter before claim against the Met Police. And so we wait. But yeah, as soon as I got the custody record, sent it to my solicitors, and boom, like they were on it. They got it moving straight away. So clearly they see this case as a high prospect of success, because they didn't mess about at all. Yeah, big up my legal team as well. Good job, you guys. But anyhow, that's going to conclude that. We'll wait. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe to the Clips channel, man. I'm going to pin it in the comments. The Clips channel, 3-minute clips. It's sick. It's my new favourite channel. Not going to lie. Like, I know they're my videos, but boom, like, I get happy whenever I see an upload. And you will too. So subscribe to that motherfucker. Peace.
There's been a lot more activity in the last few decades.
This final segment brings accountability full circle. The custody record confirms the legal confusion, prompting swift action from solicitors who clearly see strong prospects of success. When legal teams move quickly, it usually indicates confidence in the claim. This case serves as a reminder that outdated laws, improper arrests, and casual misuse of police authority can carry real consequences. Audits like this don't just expose misconduct. They test whether public institutions are willing to correct it.